Kanya steps off the bus and inhales the thick, humid air of the remote town. Her eyes are drawn to the distant silhouette of the mansion, its crumbling turrets barely visible through the fog. Whispers ripple through the streets as she makes her way toward the school, and despite herself, she glances back. The mansion looms large, dark, and silent, an unspoken presence that clings to the town like a curse. The silent chains. On her walk home, Kanya passes the overgrown garden and freezes. There, amid the choking vines and rotting foliage, stands a girl, Ranee. Her cold eyes meet Kanya's, sending a shiver down her spine. The air feels wrong, suffocating, as if the very ground beneath her feet is warning her to leave. But she shakes off the unease, convincing herself it's just nerves. The girl remains motionless, watching as Kanya hurries away. It's dusk when Kanya passes the mansion again, and this time, Narong is waiting for her at the gate. He smiles, a shadow of warmth in a face lined with quiet suffering, and invites her in. The door creaks as it swings open, revealing a hallway frozen in time, untouched by light. Dust motes drift lazily in the heavy air, and every step Kanya takes echoes unnaturally loud, as if the house itself is listening. The next day, Kanya walks through the market, the townspeople's chatter a low hum. But her ears catch whispers: the mansion, a prison, Narong and Ranee, cursed. Eyes dart away from her, afraid. A woman hisses to her companion, no one leaves that house whole. A cold wave of dread washes over Kanya, but she pushes it down, pretending not to hear. But the seed of doubt has been planted. Curiosity gnaws at Kanya until she can't resist. She sneaks into one of the locked rooms, heart pounding in her chest. The air inside is rank with decay. Her breath catches as she sees the grotesque form on the bed, a mummified body. Chains still binding it. Narong and Ranee's mother, forgotten and rotting away. Her sightless eyes seem to stare right into Kanya's soul. Horror grips her, confirming the dark whispers that had followed her since her arrival. In the dead of night, Narong finds Kanya. His voice is quiet, haunted. She was cruel, he says, eyes hollow. He tells her of the torment their mother inflicted on Ranee, how Ranee had finally snapped and killed her. He had helped cover it up, desperate to protect his sister from the truth and the outside world. His words linger in the air, heavy with guilt and shame, as Kanya's heart races. The next time Kanya comes to the mansion, Ranee's demeanor has changed. There's no distant coldness in her gaze, only a burning fury. She accuses Kanya of trying to take Narong from her, her voice low and venomous. Kanya steps back, fear tightening in her chest. The intensity in Ranee's eyes is like a wildfire waiting to consume everything in its path. Late one night, Kanya sees Ranee in the darkened bedroom, talking to her mother's corpse as though it were alive. Her voice is soft, cooing, pleading for affection. She laughs and cries in turn, playing out memories as though the woman was still there to respond. Kanya watches in horrified silence, realizing the extent of the damage that abuse has wrought on Ranee's fragile mind. Narong stands by the window, lost in thought, as Kanya confronts him. His shoulders slump, and for the first time, she sees how truly broken he is. "I let it happen," he admits, his voice cracking. "I should have stopped her, but I was too afraid." His guilt is a weight pressing down on them both. Kanya looks at him, understanding dawning that Narong, too, is a victim, trapped by fear and loyalty. Ranee's voice is a whisper in the dark, dripping with poison. She plants seeds of doubt in Kanya's mind, questioning Narong's intentions, twisting her trust. Kanya's grip on reality starts to slip, and she begins to wonder if Narong's story is the truth, or if he, too, is part of the mansion's dark web of secrets. Kanya hears Ranee's scream and rushes to the garden, where Ranee is savagely attacking an old, broken doll. Her cries of, "This is how it feels," pierce the night, the intensity of her rage sending a chill down Kanya's spine. The garden seems to close in around them, wild and oppressive, as Ranee's fury builds to a terrifying crescendo. Ranee's violence finally pushes Narong to the edge. His face is twisted in sorrow as he locks her in her room, the key turning with a finality that echoes in the house. Kanya watches him, seeing the anguish in his eyes. He knows he's losing his sister, and himself, bit by bit. In the dead of night, Ranee's voice carries through the walls. "He's mine," she says to Kanya. "Narong understands me. You never will." Her words are sharp, possessive, and drenched in madness. Kanya realizes that Ranee's love for Narong is more than sibling affection, it's an obsession, twisted by years of isolation and pain. Eavesdropping on a conversation between Narong and Ranee, Kanya understands the truth. Narong isn't protecting Ranee out of love, but out of fear of what she's capable of, fear of what she's already done. The weight of this revelation crashes over Kanya, and she realizes that the nightmare she's stumbled into is even darker than she could have imagined. A scream jolts Kanya awake, followed by the acrid smell of smoke. Ranee has escaped her room and set the mansion ablaze. The flames climb the old, dry wood like hungry beasts, and Kanya and Narong race to escape, the heat biting at their heels. Narong stands in the doorway, torn between saving Kanya and returning for Ranee, who's still inside. Kanya pleads with him, but his eyes are full of sorrow. "I can't leave her," he whispers, before running back into the flames. The inferno rages, consuming everything. Narong's last words echo in Kanya's ears as he shoves her out of the burning mansion. She stumbles into the cool night, watching as the mansion, her connection to Narong, burns. The flames roar, and with them, her heart breaks. Inside, Narong finds Ranee amidst the blaze, clutching their mother's corpse. She refuses to leave, lost in her delusion. Desperately, he tries to drag her out, but she fights him, screaming that she belongs with their mother. The fire closes in, and Narong knows it's too late. They both vanish into the flames. Kanya watches from the edge of the property as the mansion collapses in on itself, taking with it the secrets of Narong and Ranee. The villagers gather, murmuring, but none dare to speak the truth. They only see the ruins, not the tragedy that unfolded within. As dawn breaks, Kanya walks away from the town, the weight of Narong's sacrifice heavy in her chest. The memory of the mansion, of Ranee's madness and Narong's broken heart, will follow her like a shadow. Even as she leaves, the fire that consumed them burns on in her mind.